everyone. I'm Glencia Fernandes from the Department of Commerce, Milagros College, Mangalore. In the last class, I've started with a new subject which is introduced in New Education Policy, NEP, Digital Fluency. I've told in the last class how to register in Digital Fluency, taking the basic details of a student. Now, once you register in Digital Fluency class, you open up the page here. You will get a page like this and your name will appear over here. That is your profile. So here I've opened my page where it appears as module 1, module 2, module 3. And on the top we can find final test attempt 1, final test attempt 2. So I've already typed here digital 101. When I type it here digital 101, I find the modules. So let me start with the first module, which is named as module 3. So we are beginning with module 3. In module 3, you can find the following concepts. There are following concepts which we call it as a smart cards. These are the following smart card. The first topic is getting started with effective communication skills. In the first topic, there are 9 smart cards. Similar way, there are different topics like practicing effective communication, overcoming barriers to effective communication, getting started with creative creative problem solving, critical thinking, practicing creative problem solving and critical thinking, overcoming barriers to creative problem solving, getting started with collaboration and teamwork skills, overcoming barriers to collaboration, getting started with innovation and design thinking, practicing innovative design thinking. These all concepts are found in module 3. So let me go to the first topic, getting started with effective communication, where we have the following 9 smart cards. So these are called to be as 9 smart cards. So what are we going to learn in the first concept? That is, we will know what do you mean by communication. Next, we will know the list of communication which is required. So let me click on the right arrow. When you click on the right arrow, you will get a page like this where the concept is given as what is communication. So here there is a definition given. What do you mean by communication? So here the word communication has come from the Latin word as communicare, which means to share, which means to understand the things. Now in the organization, there will be different departments or there will be different levels of management, and in the organization, communication plays a vast role. Maybe a communication has to flow from the top to the bottom level, or the feedback has to go from the bottom to the top level. A communication plays a main role. So in simple, it is nothing but it is understanding the human being, it is sharing, it is knowing about a person. Let me move to the next part of communication. So here we are having a meaning of communication, which, as I've told you in the definition part, it is true to share through the communication, which represents a basic requirement in the organization. And the next concept in the communication, we find it as 8 essential components of communication. There are 8 essentials. They are source, message, channel, receiver, feedback, environment, context, and interference. So here are the 8 essential components of communication which require in the organization whenever there is a communication process. So here is a simple diagram to understand. I'll zoom it so that it is visible. This diagram says about the essentials or transactional model of communication. Here we find a source, or we call it as a receiver, and here we find as a receiver on the part of a source. So here let me take, if a person communicates a message or passes a information, he is called to be as a source who is sending the message, and a receiver may be a person who receives, who takes the message from the employer to the employee. Let me take it as employer to the employee, or in simple, from the manager to the workers or to the employees. And where the communication between these two people, we call it as a message, or it may be a feedback. In the organization, a boss or a manager wants to communicate something, wants to pass some information to his employees. He is giving a message, but at the same time an employee is facing some problems in the organization, so he wants to give some suggestions, he wants to give some feedback. Even a low level employee or a laborer is having a right to pass a message in the form of a feedback or suggestion. So this altogether we call it as a channel. Whatever first part we call it as a context, the next part it's the environment, and the middle of this source and receiver we call it as a interference. So this is one of the concept which we consider as a transactional model of communication. Other than that, there is one more diagram here where it gives a negotiated meaning for a receiver and receiver. As here this receiver is a person who sends the message, here is a person who receives that message. So there is a negotiated meaning, and how the manager or how the employee accepts the message, in what way, whether a message is taken in a positive way, or whether there is a respondent or maybe a response given from the receiver or from the employee, which we call it as a negotiated meaning. This is the introduction part of a communication, which we find it in smart card 1. Thank you.